His answer, what's the White House response to people who say vaccine mandates have reduced the workforce and contributed to this problem?
Well, I know world-renowned business, travel, and health expert Senator Ted Cruz has made that point, but I wouldn't say that that is widely acknowledged or echoed by business leaders who have implemented these mandates, by health experts who have conveyed the way to get out of the pandemic is to ensure that we're doing exactly the steps the president has announced and we're working to implement. It doesn't mean this isn't hard and challenging. Of course it is. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. But ultimately, the job of the President of the United States is to lead, is to follow the advice of health experts, is to ensure that he is protecting the lives of people across the country. So I know there was a little hubbub over the course of the last few days about Southwest Airlines. We now know that some of those claims were absolutely false, and actually the issues were completely unrelated to vaccine mandates. But again, what we've seen business to business across the country is this is the way to save lives, create more certainty, it's good for the economy, and it's something we're looking forward to implementing.
So yet again, we're forced to waste time contending with a completely imaginary scandal cooked up by the GOP, and made even worse by the fact that the Republican Party has lined up against something that is actually going to help this country. They are falling over themselves, claiming that vaccine mandates have led to worker shortages, a claim that hasn't even come close to panning out. Most recently, Ted Cruz, sensing an opportunity to spread disinformation, took to Twitter amid the news that 3,000 Southwest flights were canceled to promote his own anti-vax mandate messaging, saying, quote, "Joe Biden's illegal vaccine mandate at work. Suddenly we're short on pilots and air traffic controllers. Hashtag thanks Joe." He then linked an article quite literally debunking his own claim. It contained a quote from a Southwest spokeswoman confronting the vaccine mandate rumors and saying, quote, "It's inaccurate. There's a lot of unfounded rumor and speculation circulating." The Southwest Pilots Association echoed those sentiments, saying, quote, "We can say with confidence that our pilots are not participating in any official or unofficial job actions." And of course, aside from the article that Ted Cruz himself linked undermining his own argument, there are a couple of other minor problems here. Like, for example, the fact that there is no vaccine mandate yet for Southwest, considering it doesn't go into effect until December 8th. Second, the problems that Southwest is dealing with right now are a continuation of the same problems that Southwest has faced all summer for months. In fact, the airline lost nearly 28% of its workforce, 17,000 people, since it started offering buyouts for employees in June of 2020. In other words, Ted Cruz is claiming that a vaccine mandate that was only announced last week and doesn't go into effect for 2 months is somehow responsible for delays that occurred all summer long. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Now, not only is Southwest not suffering mass resignations as a result of vaccine mandates, but industry as a whole isn't either. United Airlines imposed a vaccine mandate on its 67,000 employees and in the end moved to terminate only 320 people, or 0.4%, meaning 99.6% of employees complied with the mandate. In New York, healthcare workers were faced with a vaccine mandate with no option for weekly testing. 92% of nursing home staff and 92% of hospital staff complied, and no interruptions to patient care were reported. In Houston Methodist Hospital, when 25,000 workers were required to get vaccinated, a grand total of 153 people were fired for refusing to comply, or 0.6%, meaning 99.4% of employees complied. Blue Cross Blue Shield, based in Tennessee, which ranks 44th out of 50 in vaccination rate, imposed a vaccination mandate themselves. Of 900 employees, 17 people chose to leave, or just over 1%, meaning 99% complied. When Henry Ford Health System in Detroit imposed a mandate on its 33,000 employees, 400 workers quit, or 1% of the workforce. These numbers are replicated over and over and over again in every sector, and they come in the face of a barrage of desperate punditry wherein conservatives promised that workers would walk off the job in record numbers rather than surrender their freedom. Only, it turns out, workers are overwhelmingly, almost unanimously, willing to get vaccinated rather than grandstand to score brownie points for their anti-vax Facebook group. Republicans might have tried to will this into existence, but it turns out that, per usual, they're not actually speaking on behalf of most Americans. In fact, as far as healthcare workers are concerned, not only are they not quitting en masse because of vaccine mandates, it's actually the effects of not enough vaccines that are leading to shortages. According to one study of over 20,000 healthcare workers from eClinical Medicine, 61% of workers reported fear of exposure or transmission of COVID, 49% reported feelings of burnout, 43% suffered work overload, and 38% reported having anxiety or depression, all of which are effects exacerbated by a pandemic that's put enormous, unrelenting pressure on healthcare workers. In other words, it's not the vaccine mandates that are leading to worker shortages, it's the consequences of no vaccine mandates that are pushing workers out of their jobs. For many people, this pandemic is making it impossible to work, and failing to get this country vaccinated will only continue to wreak more of the havoc we've already seen. And finally, regarding this last point that Cruz sloppily tried to make about the vaccine being illegal, vaccine mandates are not only not illegal, but they have a long history of being upheld in the courts. The Supreme Court upheld the state's authority to enforce compulsory vaccination laws in the 1905 case Jacobson versus Massachusetts, and then reaffirmed that decision in a 1922 case. All 50 states plus DC currently require school-age children to receive vaccines for school entry. And recently, a number of states have even removed personal belief exemptions for vaccines. And those are for government vaccine mandates. Private businesses have even more freedom to impose mandates, especially given the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA's authority to issue emergency standards. Biden is on firmly solid legal ground by requiring companies to maintain safe workplaces through vaccinations. So look, I get that Republicans have planted their flags against every single measure that would actually end this pandemic because they decided to turn a public health issue into a culture war issue, but the excuses that they're airing at this point are not only desperate, they're completely divorced from reality. If Republicans wanted to be useful, they'd promote vaccines and push for mandates everywhere so that we could finally be done with this pandemic that they themselves claim to hate so much. The fact that they refuse to shows the blatant cognitive dissonance between saying they want this virus gone and their utter refusal to lift a finger to actually end it. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.